this.
Thanks so much.
Hi everybody. My name is Mary Catherine Boehmer. You can just call me Mary. So I work at the intersection of learning and development, project management, and technology implementation.
If you're walking around, take this one.
Okay. Wow, this is very nice. All right. So I'm here today to talk a little bit about kind of what the processes of AI look like within an organization and what elements make AI implementation successful or less successful. So I think we're all using AI in some way or another. It might be sanctioned by our organization. It might be less sanctioned by our organization. But people are aware of AI. People are talking about AI. And people are using AI to some degree. And then, maybe not quite as much as we think. Whoops. Okay. So first of all, I kind of want to ask you to take a look at some of these fast facts about AI. So I was looking up some different statistics about AI, and some of these are really surprising to me. In part because only 30% of U.S. adults can correctly identify specific uses of AI in everyday life. We have 82% of respondents saying that they believe their own organization is ahead of industry peers in AI adoption, but only 37% are actually prepared right now to implement AI. So there's a lot of conflicting statistics about what AI implementation looks like and how AI can be used really successfully. So when we're looking at any kind of technology adoption, and this was the case with cloud computing, this was the case when everybody switched over to the internet and telework, technology is certainly a tool, yeah. But what we really want to be thinking about when we're thinking about how these things are used is the people, the processes, and the strategy behind it. Because ultimately, you can have the best technology in the world or the best AI in the world, and if people don't know how to use it, or they're not inclined to use it, or it's not enabled to be used across an organization in a way that's conducive to how you want it to be used, you're not going to have a whole lot of success with that. So we're going to start, first of all, by looking at the organizational level for AI implementation. And I want to show you this AI maturity model that has been, it was pretty interesting for me kind of looking at it and thinking about all these organizations saying that they're using AI internally with their employees, using AI with consumers, and then thinking about what that really means. Because realistically, they can't all be at level 5, right? So what I'd actually like to do now, because it looked like everybody was having a really good time chatting, I would love for you to get up and go talk to somebody and answer this question. Where does your organization fall on this AI maturity model based on your own experiences? So we're going to take about 2 minutes. You can get up if you want, or you can just turn around. And I just want you to talk to somebody near you and answer, where do you think your organization is on this AI maturity model? I know. So talk to other people. think so. Yeah. So I thought I had a link to Mentimeter, and I don't, so I'm just logging into my Google. Yeah, not now. Crap. Okay. Man. Man. Okay. It's fine. It's not working. I can't log into my Gmail on this. I don't have my phone accessible. It's okay. Don't worry. I can adapt. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. So I actually had like an online poll for you that I wanted you to do, so you could like see a visualization of where everybody falls on the spectrum. But you know how Gmail has like all these like 25 layers of login approval, so that's not going to happen. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to hold up your hand with the number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 for where you think your organization falls on this model, and then just take a look around and see where people are at. Ooh. Right, okay, so it's pretty eye-opening, right? And a lot of you work with AI, right? But what you see is that like that AI usage like can be really unstructured, right? Like people are kind of piecemeal using AI, or maybe they're not, but there's not like an organization like overall approach to what that AI looks like. Where's the present button? Nope. Okay. There we go. All right. So your organization is thinking of implementing enterprise-wide AI usage. Cool, I'm really happy for you. So there's a couple of things that you want to be thinking about. Organizations really need to consider things like strategic planning. They want to make sure that whatever AI they're using is really aligning with their overall business objectives. If it's not aligning with their overall business objectives, it's going to be a waste, right? You want to make sure that it's aligned with strategic goals. You want to make sure that you know what opportunities are going to actually make systems more efficient with AI. And basically, you really want to make sure that this AI is getting you to where you want to go. AI is a tool. It's not magic. I mean, well, it's kind of magical, but it's not going to fix all your problems within an organization. If you have an organization where you don't really know where you're going in terms of your strategic goals, AI is not going to help you because you can get all this data, but if you don't use it to inform decision making, then you're going to have some challenges. You also want to think about data infrastructure, right? You want to make sure that whatever you're pulling from is high quality data. So for instance, let's say you have an organization and they decide they're going to create their own internal LLM, pulling from all of the website content that they have posted within the organization. If that information isn't updated, that's not going to be a very good LLM, right? Because it's pulling from information that is not up to date or accurate. You want to make sure that that information is secure. You want to make sure that people are approaching AI use ethically, with integrity, and in ways that are not going to compromise your organization's proprietary information or what have you. You also want to make sure that whatever technology you are choosing, if you're implementing organizational, like enterprise-wide AI, you want to make sure that you are making selections that are based on the functionality, scalability, ethical implications, and cost. And you want to make sure whatever tools you're using are compatible with the existing systems. So research has shown that users do not like to go into new systems. They do not want a system that is kind of separate from all the rest. If you think about this, and you think about, for instance, how often you use Gmail to log into all sorts of different sites, then you may kind of have an understanding of this based on your own experiences. People like fewer clicks to get to where they need to go. So if you are selecting an AI that requires external navigation, that's probably not going to get a lot of buy-in and use. You also want to make sure that whatever machine learning algorithms you are selecting are based on specific problems that you're looking to solve. You don't want to be drowning in data. You want to make sure that, again, you're being really strategic about what decisions you're making with AI. You also really want to be looking at your change management systems, and you want to be looking at communication. If you are implementing AI on an organizational level, you need to be really transparent with everybody. You need to make it really clear what you are doing with AI, why you are doing it, and you need to make sure that your employees are involved, because if you're not doing those things, you're going to be encountering resistance to AI use. And it might not be the form of people protesting, but it might be the form of people not using the tools. So they're going to want to know, why are we using AI? They're going to want to know, what are you doing with this information that we're putting into the AI? And they're going to want to know all of these questions. And so you want to make sure that you are communicating proactively and consistently with the people within your organization about the decisions that went into implementing AI and implementing this particular AI tool. You also want to be thinking about human-AI collaboration. So there's two real ways that we can see AI impacting workflows. One of them is automation, where it basically takes out the human component, and the other one is augmentation, where the AI is supporting you in doing the work that you want to do. Ideally, an organization would look to AI as a tool that could really augment and complement human expertise and provide insight to enhance the choices and enhance the work that people are doing. And again, this kind of goes along with a lot of the messaging. A lot of people are really scared of AI taking their jobs. And if you are not messaging proactively and positively about AI usage in your organization, then you're not going to have a lot of those positive results that you are hoping to get from implementing AI. And you want to create an environment where workers are encouraged to interact with AI and collaborate with AI and experiment with AI. You want to provide them with choices, and you want to provide them with knowledge of the AI systems and how to use them. And then another big piece of it is workforce development. If you're implementing new AI tools, your workforce is going to need to be trained in them. They're going to need to understand how to use these tools. They're going to need to understand that these tools, hopefully, are not a replacement for the work that they are doing, but rather an augmentation. You really need to make sure that you have training programs that are going to give employees the opportunity to adapt the technical skills that they need, but also the soft skills that they would need to work with AI. And you want to, for the people whose roles are going to be automated, you want to make sure that you are helping them to upskill to new roles. So there is a lot to think about when you're trying to make decisions about AI in your organization. So now that we've talked about what organizations need to think about if they're going to implement any kind of AI, we want to talk a little bit about how you can be sure that you are selecting the right AI tools for your organization. And there's 4 major things that you really want to be thinking about with that. The first thing would be modularity. So when we say modularity, basically what we're looking at is how a system is structured, how much you're able to take apart different pieces of the system and use them separately. So systems that are more modular tend to have more distinct self-contained components, and those tend to be those tend to be better received than ones that have a low level of modularity and are just kind of, one technology that can't really be broken apart in any kind of way. So an example of this would be something like Copilot. Copilot is highly modular. There's many different ways that you can interact with Copilot. You can have it draft emails, you can have it summarize meeting notes. There's a lot of different functions. And when you're using Copilot, you can make choices about what features you're using. You're not required to use the tool in one very specific way. Instead, there's these different high modularity features that allow you to make choices about how you're going to engage with the AI. You also want to think about ease of learning. So modularity is a really good feature to look for in any AI tool. If you are designing an AI tool, or if your company is looking to, find a customer base for an AI tool that you're developing, you really want to think about modularity and having these different add-on elements, because they do make it a lot easier for organizational-wide implementation. And if you have a system with modularity, it's a lot easier for people to learn, because they can co-create with the AI. They can determine how the AI can help augment their work or offload some of the heavier cognitive load of the work that they do. And it's just a lot more intuitive for them. And they can focus on one module at a time. And when we're talking about modules, again, we're not talking about learning modules like that you would find in an online course or something like that. We're talking about distinct components of an AI tool. So if you think back to maybe the first time you used ChatGPT and how you were kind of maybe playing around with it and thinking about, oh, what can this do? It can do this. Oh, it can also do this. Oh, it can also do this. That's really kind of what we're looking at when we're talking about focusing on one module at a time. You also need something called system self-efficacy, which is the employees need to believe their ability to successfully use the system. And belief is really important here. They need to have the perception that this is a tool that will be both easy to use and also a tool that will be very useful for them. And in your messaging, because if you're an organization who is implementing AI in a well-designed way, you want to make sure that you have been proactively communicating with your employees about why you're choosing these AI tools and how it will help them. And you want to help them feel confident in their abilities to use the tools. And then finally, we have customization and adaptation. So systems should meet different user needs. And again, this is a feature of highly modular systems. Systems with high modularity are automatically kind of geared to being customized and adapted for the needs of different users. And if you're looking at enterprise-wide AI implementation, you know that different departments are going to be using these tools differently, right? So you don't want silos of AI usage. If you can help it, you really want to have more of an enterprise-wide approach. And you want to make sure that if you are able to, and again, this is a feature of highly modular systems, you want to make sure that the systems can be programmable and customizable directly by the users. So you don't want them to have that go-between of adapting the AI system through some third party, even if it's within your own organization, in order to get the results they want, because again, that's going to foster a lot of resistance among people. So you want users to be able to adapt the technology for their use and to do so on their own with highly modular systems. All right, so now let's talk about communicating to users. So a couple of things that you want to think about when you're communicating your AI decision-making and implementation to employees or to an organization. You really want to be focusing on transparency. So you want to be focusing on how it aligns with your organizational vision, the benefits of it, the impact of it, and you want to make sure that that messaging stays really consistent. No messaging is not communication. Just having an AI tool and saying, hey guys, it's here, that's not proactive communication. So you want to be communicating this positively and in a way where users are going to come away feeling like they understand what's going on. And again, when we're talking about positive framing, we want open communication. There is a very real fear people have of AI taking their jobs, so you want to address that job security and maybe some of those fears that people have and make it clear that you are not, hopefully, looking to take their jobs through AI. You want to focus on augmentation more than automation. So there's actually a term for this fear of losing your job because of technology, and it's called IT identity threat. And it's a major feature when we see a lot of resistance to technology tools and certainly AI, but people are worried about their jobs. And if they're worried about their jobs, they're not going to be bought into using AI tools, especially if you haven't been transparent in your communication, if you haven't framed it in a positive way. These are things that you really want to make sure are very clear to your users. And if their jobs are going to be automated, then you want to be having conversations with them about different skills that they can learn so that they can continue working within your organization, ideally. And then we also have explainable AI or XAI mechanisms. So basically, this is explaining to users how AI actually works. So we have AI tools. How do they work? I don't know. I'm not a data person. I am more on the human-facing end of things and the system-facing end of things. But if people do not understand how AI works, there's going to be a lot of resistance. And you also want to make sure that in the C-suite, where these decisions are being made, that they also know how the AI works and they're not just choosing some random AI tool that they think is going to magically make everything great within the organization. So you want explainable AI mechanisms. So whatever tool you're choosing to use or however you're planning to use AI, you want to make sure that you are communicating that clearly, positively, and that whatever AI you're using, you can explain how it actually works. And then also, obviously, you're going to need clear and strict data privacy measures. People are going to want to know what kind of security measures are in place to protect their data privacy. They're going to need to know what data privacy needs to be within the organization, what kind of information would be proprietary, what kind of information might violate some of the data privacy measures. So people are going to need to know that information as well. So, setting up users for success. So you have your organization. You've thought through what you want AI to actually achieve in your organization. You've figured out how you want to communicate it. You've figured out what tools you want to use. You know that it's going to align with your business goals. You know that it has high modularity. You know that it has explainable AI features that you can explain to all the people who work in your organization. Excellent. These are great things. So let's talk now about the users directly and what it looks like for AI implementation to be effective for users on kind of a more focused level. I can't emphasize this enough. Communicate proactively and consistently with users. You want to keep doing this. This isn't something where you do it one time and you say, we're using this now, and that's it. You want to continue that messaging, and you want to continue making sure that information remains the same in terms of the overall message of it. Making it transparent, making it positive, focusing on augmentation versus automation. You also want to create opportunities for users to shape their own AI usage. So we talked a little bit about modular systems, and we also talked about, allowing for human AI collaboration, for people to feel that they're co-collaborators with whatever AI tools that they're using. Users actively shape the technology through their practices. and the way that they shape it in turn influences their use. And again, if you think how you might have evolved with how you use AI tools, even something like ChatGPT, you might recognize this. When I first started using ChatGPT, I said a lot of pleases and thank yous, and then I stopped. And ChatGPT also knows me a lot better now, right? So if I'm asking for something, the way that I have used ChatGPT in turn is shaping the way I use it. No, I'm shaping it. It's been a long day. I'm really sorry. So you also want to make sure that you're providing elements of choice in the AI adoption and training process. So you probably don't want to do like a whole full-scale rollout of some kind of AI tool. You want there to be elements of choice. And we're going to go over a few different frameworks for what this might look like. And you want them to have choice in the training process. That can be, what does the training process look like? That can be optional training. That can be different modalities, online or in person. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but the big thing is you really want choice for your users. You also want to recognize that AI is not going to be used uniformly throughout your whole organization. Not everybody is going to be using AI in exactly the same way, and you shouldn't assume that that will be the case. There's a lot of different factors that tie into how AI use will differ from person to person and from department to department. So skills and knowledge and assumptions, the degree of training that they've had, how it's been communicated, their previous experiences with AI, and then of course the context of where they're using it, organizational structure, institutional context, and social conventions. So if you think about, perhaps people of different generations and how they use technology, this might be really kind of, resonating with you. Even when we're looking at something that's not AI, like Facebook, for instance, you'll see people of different generations using the exact same tool very differently. And the reason for that, again, is because people are bringing themselves to the technology and they're shaping how they want to use it. And then, again, we want to make sure that you are providing training opportunities. Don't just assume that people are going to be A-OK on their own with learning how to use AI. There's probably going to be resistance to that on kind of more of an emotional level as well. But it's also going to not really make it consistent adoption. So providing training opportunities that allow for co-exploration and collaboration of AI tools is really, really important here. So now we're kind of wrapping things up now. And I have 3 potential frameworks for you. And these are 3 actual ways that I've seen AI implemented at different organizations that I have heard about their AI implementation, or that I have actually been there when they did it. So I've changed some names, so I'm not gonna say where these things are. But I want to kind of go over some of these frameworks because some of these really resonate well with a lot of the things that I was talking about in terms of providing user choice, highly modular systems, and recognizing that people are not going to adopt or interact with the AI at the same rate. The first one we have is something I'm going to call number 2, which is, basically it's similar to Copilot. So one organization, and this is a biotech organization, this actually happened. They had a lottery system, and they sent out a call to all of their employees, and they said, hey, we have 100 spots for anybody who wants to be one of the first people to try out number 2. So if you want to sign up for it, here's the link. Sign up. We'll let you know if you're one of the lucky people. So after 3 months, they invited all the users to a series of virtual drop-in micro-learning sessions to learn about the tool. So again, optional, very good. And they're drop-in, so they're very small, they're very chunked. It's not like an intensive 3-day training session. After another 3 months, they released number 2 to all members of the organization. So everybody has access to it at that time. Our second one, a hands-on AI lab. So the hands-on AI lab was 1-hour virtual monthly sessions focusing on different modules of AI tools for learning and development professionals. And the tools were different types. Some of them were focused on ways of doing business, things like Copilot or, what have you. And some of them were focused specifically on learning and development functions. So things where you could make an animated video with this AI tool or, use, I'm trying to think of another one. So there's a tool that you use to design learning called Articulate. They had AI features within it. So one of them focused on that. So the AI lab essentially provided opportunities for semi-structured exploration with dummy tasks. So they would be given 3 different tasks, and they could approach them however they wanted, but they were expected to do these 3 very small tasks. And then they discussed, is this something that they find useful, yes or no? And they talked about the efficacy of the tools across different contexts. And then it was open to members from different roles, different sectors, different skill and familiarity levels, and really just kind of anybody who wants to do it can do it. And then our final one is called Ask Chatbot. So an organization wanted to bring AI at an organizational level, and they decided that they were going to hire an external consultancy to develop or an external consultancy to develop an internal LLM and chatbot, which they're going to call Ask Chatbot. Again, I changed the name. The LLM pulls from all the open website content of the organization, so basically anything with the domain name that you don't have to log into. Users are invited to be in the pilot group to provide feedback on how accurate and easy it is to use. And then the organization announces the launch of Ask Chatbot to everybody. So let's go ahead and take, let's say 2 minutes. I think we're okay, because after this it's just questions. All right, so let's take 2 minutes, and I would love for you to talk to someone or some people near you and say, which of these do you think best demonstrates the elements that we talked about in terms of communication, in terms of providing user choice with the training, in terms of focusing on highly modular systems, and in terms of allowing users to be co-creators with AI tools. Of these 3 scenarios, is there one that, how would you rank them? So go ahead and talk to the person or the people next to you and just chat. There's no right answers, there's no wrong answers. We're just chatting, so. Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up. So again, because I can't log into our polling software, go ahead and show a 1, a 2, or a 3. We're going to go left to right. So a 1, a 2, or a 3 with your hands. Which one do you think probably had the best use of these different features of strong AI implementation that we talked about? Okay, interesting. Really? Okay.
Two meaning number 2? Or
Yeah. Sorry. I know. I should have reversed them. Okay. So let's say the name of it. So who thinks that? Let's just do a show of hands. Who thinks that this one was the best case? Raise your hands. Okay. Who thinks this one was the best case? Raise your hands. Who thinks this one was the best case? Yeah, and this organization threw a lot of money at creating this chatbot, which, well, but like think of the waste that goes into that. It sounds great in theory, but you don't have these choices, right? I'm not saying a chatbot is a bad thing. I mean, chatbots can be really great, probably. But it's not good if what you're looking at is organizational implementation of AI. So I would say either of these two for different reasons. This one, when I heard about it, I almost gasped because it's just so good. But yeah.
I can provide a little commentary on how like we've done it here.
Yeah.
We've actually followed the number 2 as in the blue.
Yeah.
More than the green one.
Yeah.
There's just lots of learning material. There are 2 people whose entire job are dedicated to promoting the use of positive messaging, promoting the use of artificial intelligence tools. At first, it was very centered on like ChatGPT Enterprise. You can do GPT for everything.
Mm-hmm.
We realized very soon you can't use ChatGPT for everything.
Yeah.
And that thankfully those 2 folks also recognize you can't use ChatGPT for everything. So we started really investing in other tools. The developers here everyone has GitHub Copilot.
Yeah.
If they ask for it, and it's just like a godsend.
Yeah.
Really, I'm very glad like our investments have been really paying off here.
Yeah, no, and I would absolutely agree. But this one was also more of an organization. So the Hands-on AI Lab is something that I actually host, but it's not within a specific organization, like per se. So it's a little bit less structured. But this is really good, and I'm glad to hear that you've done that too, because you're also learning from how users are interacting with the AI tool, and you're keeping the messaging consistent, but also recognizing users need choices, right? Anybody else want to share out? I can pass the microphone, or somebody else can. He can pass the microphone. Any thoughts, ideas, anything?
Thank you. How do you, what metrics are used to gauge the response? So the problem I see with number 2 is in the blue.
Yeah.
You can have an overrepresentation of a particular division. So if 7
Yeah.
people of the 100 spots volunteer, I don't know how it's done, if it's randomized, but you can have, and they might use the AI implementation in a very specific kind of way that might not be in alignment with the organization as a whole, but the organization wants to move as a whole. So that is a shortcoming. So I'm interested in the metrics that is used to determine how successful these tools are for the organization as a whole, to answer the business goals, or I guess there's different ways to measure success per division, organization as a whole, or the business question. So that's what comes to mind.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And
Repeat the question.
okay, yeah. So basically, the question was, how do you measure how effective it is, especially like within different divisions of an organization? And really, I will say, maybe you don't know. Is it important for you to know? I can't answer that, right? Like that really depends on the organization. We want to give people choices. I know somebody, so the person who shared this particular setting with me, their immediate supervisor just does not use Copilot whatsoever, or not their immediate supervisor. I think both their immediate and their supervisor just don't use like this tool at all. And that's okay, right? Do they need to use it? Are they hitting their business metrics regardless of this tool? The tool ultimately should be augmenting their work. If they are succeeding with the overall business goals, cool. If they're using this tool to do it, wonderful. If they're not using this tool to do it, okay, it doesn't meet their needs. We don't use every technology available at our disposal. Who here is all about TikTok? Anybody? I hate TikTok. Sorry, but it's there. I could use it. I choose not to, right? And we want to make sure that users within an organization have that same element of choice, unless it's something really imperative to their job, right? Like if we're using a tool like Copilot, is that imperative to your job? I don't know. I don't know what your job is, right? So just some food for thought. Anybody else want to chime in?
I've got a 1,000-person company I'm part of. We've got about 12 silos of data, all different spread out places. We did a pilot, and we spread it across a bunch of departments. We use Glean. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's
Yeah.
enterprise search. And so we did have some metrics about the quality of the answers we got. So it's quasi-search, almost like a Google, except that you get the summaries and everything else that you would expect from an LLM. And then you can start chatting against the data, which was a big value add. So we got metrics that said it was roughly 70% accurate, but we were finding everything. And what Glean does is it respects the permission model. I'm not pitching Glean because I'm part of it. It's just it did a particularly good job for us, meaning that data was protected when it needed to be protected. So that was our story, and that's pretty much how we got it launched.
Yeah, that's great. And I have just another plug for Glean. They were pretty ahead of the game with data privacy, and I've worked at organizations who chose to use Glean specifically because of that, compared to things like Otter AI or what have you. So people are using Glean regularly. Do you have metrics on usage?
It's pretty popular, but
okay.
everyone understands that it's not 100% in terms of when you're chatting with it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How much time do we have? Because I'm just on the questions part, so.
Yeah, maybe it's one more question. Yeah.
Okay, sure. One more question, if anybody has one more question or comments or. Oh.
Thank you for a really excellent talk. I guess I have two questions. One, I want to know what software you use to make your slides because they're really nice. I don't work in AI yet, so I'm curious if you have any questions in your head that you wish someone in the audience would ask.
No, because I absolutely wouldn't consider myself an expert on AI. Again, I really like the focus of technology implementation, learning and development, and project management. But I would love to talk and learn more. However, in terms of the slides, I made these. These are from Canva, but I put a lot of work in adding all these details. It was important to me. I spent 20 minutes on the front page, or not 20 minutes, an hour on the front page and 20 minutes on this, and I felt it was worth it. I like to have a vision, and if it doesn't meet my vision, it's hard for me to kind of feel more bought into it. So I made these through Canva, but I added in all the design elements. I use the high modularity of Canvas or Canva to make it look how I wanted. But thank you. That's very nice to hear. I guess we'll wrap up now. Really great to meet all of you. If you'd like to connect on LinkedIn, you can scan that QR code, or you can look for my name exactly as is in the event.